Hey YouTube, it's me, King Nazru. In case you didn't get my post, I'm going to start doing videos about reviewing a manga that I just recently discovered and I really like. A manga that I have not enjoyed since Dragon Ball. Yes, I love this manga about as much as I love Dragon Ball, my favorite manga and anime of all time. And this manga is called Rosario Vampire. Now, even though I'm on the latest chapter of season 2, I'm going to start off at the very first one and help walk you through the all the arcs that led up to that chapter, and when we get to that, we'll continue from there. So I'm going to be reading off like this is the first time I've read Rosario Vampire, and it's going to be completely fresh. All right, let's begin, shall we? So we start off with our introduction to the male protagonist, Skune Aono. And he's pretty average. He has no hobbies, no specialties. He's pretty much a C to B student. And he flunked his high school entrance exam, which means he can't get into any high school except private ones. Fortunately, his father managed to get a brochure for a private school called Yokai Academy from a what he described a creepy priest. So therefore, he'll be able to attend this school without drop and not drop out. Uh, all while the bus driver is sitting there listening to him monologue to himself, he tells Skinner that he better brace himself because, as he quotes, the school is a very horrifying place. And when he reaches the place, it's called Yokai Academy, he realizes that it is very disturbing. He even goes so far as to describe it as like a different world. There's crows hanging about. The place is decorated with Halloween props such as pumpkins, a scarecrow. The very school itself looks like a haunted mansion or a gothic church. And it doesn't take very long to scare Skune. And while he's taking all this in, uh, he gets into a bike accident with our female protagonist, Mocha Akashiya, and she shortly after apologizing to Skune because the accident was due to her suffering from anemia. She and Skune realizes how beautiful Mocha is, even goes so far as to get the typical anime manga nosebleed whenever they see a sexy girl. Uh, she's, she smells his blood and bites him on the neck, to which it is revealed that she is in fact a vampire. and while Mocha asks if Skune hates vampires, to which he says no, and that's mainly because he's skeptical. But he says he doesn't care if she's a vampire, and she said, and this leads her to asking her to be his friend because she doesn't really have any a lot of she doesn't really have any friends, and this being a new school, uh, it would be nice to have one, and to which Skune agrees to. Now this is really interesting because it really uh, shows that Skune is the average person enters entering to a very strange and supernatural environment, and we meet a girl from the supernatural world who is also who may be scared, who might seem scary at first, or rather is claim, rather be says to be from a scary place, but is actually approachable due to her kind nature. So then we cut to the class where the teacher, Miss Nekonamine, says that Yokai Academy's sole purpose is to teach monsters how to look and behave like humans, because the majority of the world is dominated by humans, and if monsters were to uh, were to confront humans, they would most likely lose. So the only way for them to survive is to coexist peacefully. However, this one student named Saizao Komiya suggests that they shouldn't coexist with the humans. Instead, they should, and I quote, uh, eat all the men and children, and for all the beautiful women, let's molest them. We can pretty much tell that this guy is going to be our antagonist for this chapter. What a complete asshole. Uh, and this whole revelation that this is actually a school for monsters is very alarming to Skune. He has no idea what he's doing here. He's completely scared out of his wits, and it takes Moka Akashiya popping into the class to actually calm him down. And we can see that despite Moka not having any friends, her beauty and charm makes her quite popular. That every boy at the school is pretty much wants to be with her boyfriend, and the fact that Skune is the only one that gets to be around her is pretty makes them envious her, even going so far as to wanting to kill him to get to her. And then we cut to back to Saizao as saying that Mocha should be with him instead of Skune because he looks pretty much like a wimp, and to which Mocha rejects. This also leads to Mocha and Skune uh, touring the school, Mocha asking, "What monster is Skune?" And to which Skune tries to tell that he's human, but Mocha remembers the rules that nobody can reveal that they are a monster. And Skune also has to keep this secret because, as Nekonomine said, if any humans were to get onto the school campus, they would be killed on sight. So, we also learned that one of the primary reasons that Mocha likes Skune is because of his sweet blood. His blood type is a blood type, and that is actually the first time she's ever fed on fresh human blood. So we also so we also get to see a little bit of a character flaw in Mocha and Miss Skune. Skune is naturally the normal human being in a school full of monsters and will be naturally be vulnerable. Mocha, she has a very, uh, shall we say, addiction to Skune's or pretty much any other human's blood, and this will probably be used for some comedic relief. What's next? Uh, there's also the bit where Saizo confronts Skune again and tries to wonder why Mocha could possibly be interested in someone like Skune, even so going so far as to ask what monster he is. And Skune lies and says that he's a vampire. Okay. Then Saizo says that is shocked by this and is a bit skeptical but doesn't do anything about it. He just questions, are you really a vampire? Because according to legends, vampires are arguably the most powerful monsters in existence. But he says, regardless of this, I'm going to give you this warning: stay away from Mocha, or I'm going to kill you. So with scary school, being surrounded by scary monsters, even one going so far as to outright say, I'll kill you if you get next to this girl, Skune decides to drop out of the school. But Mocha catches him. She finds out that he tends to drop out and tells her that, I mean, tells her that he wants to go to a human school. To which Mocha says she doesn't want him to go to a human school because she hates humans. Because when she went to a human school, she was picked on for saying that she was a vampire. Nobody believed her, thought she was weird. Everybody thought that she should never come to the place. And Scooney is the first actual friend she's ever had. This, however, leads to Skune revealing that he's actually human, and because how Mocha is shocked and somewhat mortified by this revelation, they can't actually be friends. And he decides to take the bus back to the human world. While Mocha is reflecting on this, Saizao decides to approach Mocha and more or less molest her. He gets so aroused by the sensation that he even transforms into his true monster form, which is an ogre. As before Skune can board the bus, uh, feel doesn't he doesn't feel right about leaving Mocha, even though this is a very scary school, and decides to go back. And while Skune does try valiantly to defend her, being a frail human, he naturally gets his ass kicked. Um, Mocha tries to comfort Skune and also comes to accept that maybe monsters and humans can't possibly live together because they're so different. And while she does cherish his blood, she all she really wanted from him is to be his friend. To which Skune says, "Even though you're a scary monster, maybe I'll be your friend." And while Saizo about to attack, Skune ducks and accidentally removes Mocha's rosary. Which I forgot to mention earlier that she mentioned that if anybody removes the rosary from her chest, she will turn to her true vampiric form, which not only makes her more powerful but also makes her more violent. And when we see Mocha's true form, if she has silver hair, is more voluptuous. She's also a bit more arrogant and violent, and she even goads Saizao to take her and molest her if he's capable of doing that. To which Saizo is hesitant since he could sense Mocha's overwhelming power, but tries to do it anyway. And Mocha pretty much makes a fool of him by simply kicking him and pretty much saying that he's not even worthy of being a practice dummy, and basically says that he needs to learn his place. Then when the other Mocha decides to confront Skune, asking if he's actually frightened of her, she pretty much calms him down by saying she's not interested in picking a fight with him because she actually likes his blood too. And she also gives Skune the advice of you should probably be nice to the Mocha that you're used to seeing. So this is pretty this is pretty interesting because we get to see the characters develop, overcome their difference of species, and we also introduce to one of the characters' special powers, and it makes it a very badass character who can certainly provide for the action of the story. Then it pretty much just ends with Maka and Skune uh, establishing their friendship, and pretty much ends on a comedic note of how Mocha is addicted to Skune's blood. So overall, I think this is a pretty good chapter. Pretty good, well likable and relatable characters. Uh, a really good action scene. Um, very sympathetic backstories for both of them, and has a lot of horror elements for fans of horror. So I definitely recommend this Rosario Vampire series, and we're going to continue next time.